according to Matthew. Jesus told his disciples this parable. The kingdom of heaven will be like 10 virgins who took their lamps and went out to meet the bridegroom. 5 of them were foolish and 5 were wise. The foolish ones, when taking their lamps, brought no oil with them, but the wise brought flasks of oil with their lamps. Since the bridegroom was long delayed, they all became drowsy and fell asleep. At midnight there was a cry, "Behold, the bridegroom! Come out to meet him!" Then all those virgins got up and trimmed their lamps. The foolish ones said to the wise, "Give us some of your oil, for our lamps are going out." But the wise ones replied, "No, for there may be not enough for us and you. Go instead to the merchants and buy some for yourselves." While they went off to buy it, the bridegroom came, and those who were ready went into the wedding feast with him. Then the door was locked. Afterwards, the other virgins came and said, "Lord, Lord, open the door for us." But he said in reply, "Amen, I say to you, I do not know you. Therefore, stay awake, for you know neither the day nor the hour." The Gospel of the Lord. Please be seated. I want to go back to high school with all of you. Come on, let's go. For some of you that might be decades ago. For some, it might be last Friday. But I want you to imagine for just a moment that you are in 5th period AP English class with Mrs. Flores. The class is currently studying The Crucible, a 1953 play by Arthur Miller, which uses the Salem witch trials as an allegory for McCarthyism and the Red Scare during the 1940s and 50s. You were supposed to have all of Act 1 and 2 prepared for a class discussion. Mrs. Flores surprises the class and starts off the period by saying, "All right, clear your desks, pop quiz." You frantically sweep into your backpack your late math homework, your Motorola Razr cell phone, and of course, your completely unopened, unread copy of The Crucible. The questions are as follows. There are no multiple choice, only blank lines to fill in your answer. What kind of government does Salem have in The Crucible? Well, I don't know, communism? In Act 2, what does Mary Warren give to Elizabeth Proctor when she returns home from the trials? A hug. I don't know. She gives her a hug, I bet. Why did Elizabeth Proctor fire Abigail? Oh, poor Abigail. Hope she finds another job. On what charge is Giles Corey arrested? I don't know. Witchcraft? Frantically, your mind races to try to remember what little information you retained from the Wikipedia article that you skimmed the night before about the plot. You look over to your neighbor to see if you can get any type of help from them, but their handwriting is too small, and the desk is too far away for you to cheat off of. And your desk is right next to the teacher's, so you can't whisper and try to get help. There is no way to get the information to fill the blanks, so you have 2 options. Write down the first random words that come to your head, or simply write, "I don't know," and hope for the best. Maybe you'll get lucky. Maybe Mrs. Flores will have mercy on you. This story is completely true. I love classic literature. Shakespeare, short stories, and novels of all kinds. I gobbled up every single one that was ever assigned to me in high school and college, except this one. For one reason or another, nothing against Arthur Miller, I somehow got behind in my reading assignments and I never even started reading the play. And to this day, I have yet to read Arthur Miller's The Crucible, and I have regretted it ever since. In the gospel today, we have a very similar pop quiz. And just like my fateful pop quiz, the 5 foolish virgins in this story are not ready for the bridegroom. They are not ready for the big event. The story that Jesus tells us may seem strange, but waiting for the bridegroom is still something that we do today. What happens when the wedding is over and everyone moves to the fairgrounds, to the expo, to start the reception, the dinner, and the dancing? Well, we all have a drink or two, munch on peanuts, and gather at our tables, which no doubt have some sort of beautiful flower or light centerpiece. We excitedly chatter with each other and catch up on old times until the DJ comes on the microphone and announces that finally the wedding party has arrived. We are all so ready to eat and start the party, of course, but our joy comes mostly from seeing them triumphantly enter the hall to theme song and dance to their places at the head table. This big event is not scary. It's beautiful and thrilling and exciting, but we were all ready and expecting it. Jesus is using the example of waiting for the wedding party to arrive in order to illustrate the big event of when we arrive to the final party, the coming of the bridegroom himself at the end of the world. Our own personal deaths will be another big event where we will get to meet the bridegroom, and he will judge if we are ready or not to enter into the final party in heaven. Growing up and reading this story about the 5 foolish, 5 wise virgins, I always thought it was rude and selfish of the wise virgins to say, hey, you get your own oil for your own lamps. We're not sharing. Why didn't they share? Isn't that what being a Christian is all about? But they physically can't share or spare any oil. Just like how my fellow classmates in the pop quiz physically can't help me cheat or get any of those answers. The 10 virgins, or the wise virgins, have only enough for themselves. And I'm pretty sure these wise virgins would have loved to share some of their oil and even buy some extra for the foolish ones, but in the actual event, when it finally is happening, the bridegroom is approaching, they need it. Why? Because the wedding party will be coming at night, and they are not driving in a party bus that they rented from Decorah or in a hay wagon. They're probably walking along a path from one town to get to the other town, which has the wedding feast. Things took a lot longer back in those days, and all the oil that is needed to keep the party lit up for the rest of the evening. So if that clears up the analogy, let's look at how you can be a wise virgin. Well, actually, I prefer the term faithful, expectant disciple. How can you, going forward in this week, be a faithful, expectant disciple? I don't think this whole story, or I don't think this is an issue of being ready, like, marking a time on your calendar or preparing for a specific event, because none of us know when we are going to die. And none of us know when Jesus will come back again. I think, instead, it's an issue of living daily as a prepared and as an excited disciple of Christ. If I was living true to myself, true to who I really am as a lover of literature, I would have read Arthur Miller's The Crucible in the first few days of even buying it. Not because of the threat of a pop quiz and not to get a passing grade on the final exam, but because I actually love reading and analyzing plays. But I wasn't living that way in high school. I delayed. I delayed not just by being unprepared for the pop quiz itself, but I delayed in my love of literature. My love went cold, and just like the lamps, I suffered for it. So it's tempting to be scared at all this talk of the end of the world, the coming of Jesus, the judge, and even talking about our own deaths. And I'm sure it's very easy for non-Christians to say, well, you're just doing good things and saying your prayers because you're scared you won't get into heaven. But how many of you are scared or nervous at the wedding reception when you're waiting for the wedding party to come? You are excited and full of hope, even if you happen to get distracted by the conversation, or even if you get distracted by trying every single flavor of those delicious little mini cupcakes that they all have out on a big table. Even if those distractions happen, you are still ready. We are called to not live in fear that death might come at any moment, but we are ready. We are called to be ready and excited when it comes because we get to meet the bridegroom, the source of all our joy. We are called in this time, right now, which is before the pop quiz, to joyfully read and discuss outside of class Arthur Miller's The Crucible. We are called to joyfully share our oil of charity and knowledge with those who haven't read the whole play, or actually, especially those who don't even care about the play. Think about this. If I had heard my classmates excitedly talking in the cafeteria at lunchtime about, how the characters really start to develop in Act 2, or how things get really tense at the final scene, I would have no doubt rushed home, read the entire thing so I could join them. As Christians, I don't think we should be working and striving for just a passing grade. Jesus wants us to thrive with happiness and joy. If I had loved and read every scene of that play, then I wouldn't even break a sweat at the mention of a pop quiz or even a final exam. I would probably have wanted to write more than just what those little 2 lines on each question allow me to. This gospel comes to us right now because we are nearing an end of sorts, the end of the year. Leaves are falling, nature is going to sleep, and the weather is getting colder. Well, not this weekend. I guess that kind of proves me wrong. But we are nearing the end of our liturgical year. And remember, us Catholics, we get 2 New Year's celebrations. January 1st, of course, December 31st, but also the first Sunday in Advent. That is our new year. Everything resets, the liturgical calendar starts over. As nature and as time points towards the end, we get to point our hearts and our minds toward the exciting beginning of new life with Jesus, who we will soon anticipate as a little baby in Christmas time. Receiving the Eucharist every single week and going to confession regularly is a great way for us to stay ready and stay in love. It would be like rereading a scene or 2 from the play every single Sunday afternoon before school, just to keep things fresh. But we don't go to Mass on Sunday just because God or your grandma makes you go to church. You don't go to Mass just because you want to get a passing grade as a Christian. No, this Mass, coming together on the weekend, is the starting point of living your week as a faithful, expectant disciple of Jesus. I don't want to read literature just so I can squeeze by English class with a solid B-, which I think I did. I want to read and analyze and discuss and have my life changed and improved by what I read. We aren't asked to be fearful and vigilant. We are asked to be ready. I love the final line of the Hail Mary prayer. Pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Right now it's currently 4:38 p.m. 4 o'clock. This could be the hour of my death. This could be the hour when I get to meet the bridegroom. And I've been praying for that with every Hail Mary that I've said throughout my life. That doesn't scare me. That makes me excited. It makes me excited to announce his coming to others and joyfully greet him with a bright, shining lamp full of oil. So, Christians, this week, I don't want you to just make it by surviving. I want you to start thriving. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to go read Arthur Miller's The Crucible.